the Waqf protest all across India is saying that it's against the constitution, undemocratically thrust. But what is undemocratic? A law being passed by both houses of the parliament? What is so unconstitutional about it, where where joint parliamentary committee has been made? And thirdly, don't you think it's mimicking the CAA protests, sir? Once again, Dr. Hussain.
Yeah. Yeah,
So that's why
the question is whether such protection is unconstitutional or not. That is not the question. The question is whether the act that was passed was constitutional or not. In our setup, in India particularly, it's not the prime minister, not the president, not the parliament is supreme. Supremacy lies with the constitution. And who is the protector of the constitution? Constitutional protector is the Supreme Court of India. The court is sub judice now. The question is, the moot question here is whether it is constitutional or not. You cannot pass an act which is not constitutional. This act, particularly this act, I'll tell you, the Supreme Court asked 2-3 questions to the Solicitor General. It asked whether there's the particular the right to protection, right to protection of this Article 14 and Article 15 has been violated or not. Article 14 says that equality before law has to be established. There has to be equality before law. When you have 2 members in the council, Waqf council from non-Muslims category, why can't you have similar facilities in other communities, like in churches, in temples, and other things? Because it's particularly when it has to protect religious rights. Right to religion is there in our constitution. That is enshrining the fundamental rights of our constitution. Article 30, for instance, Article 30 says, no, what Amit Shah said is in Parliament is that this is a secular activity. Management of Waqf property is secular activity. Otherwise, read the Article 30. What does it say? Article 30 says that minority communities can have their educational institutions and also administer those institutions. That means administration of.
See, I understand, sir. I get your point. I understand that the matter has gone to the court. I understand that, sir. The point I understand, the matter is with the court. My question is very simple. Every time the bills are being passed, the matter is being taken to street. I mean, so there's an element of Lohiite politics this country has witnessed in 1960s and 70s, but that's for a different debate. My issue is, even the parliament has taken a democratic route. The protest takes place in the most undemocratic way the bill was passed. I mean, so the bill was voted upon, Jasmine, isn't that correct?
It was voted and it has passed from both houses. And we also must remember that this Waqf Act, which was established in 1913, has been amended a couple of times. It was in 1954, 59, 64, and the last was done, I think, in 1984. And then again, in 2015 again, it was amended. And those amendments, 1995, it was amended. This is basically what has happened here is a larger question which nobody's understanding is that the hue and cry is not being made by an average Muslim who is being deprived of economic benefits, whether from hospitals or educational institutions, which the Waqf properties should be running and changing with time, but a cartel of people which control this mega properties. And this law has been passed to streamline the properties, to streamline a clean administrative way so that the people have a say in that. And the hue and cry is because of economic interests.
Okay. Nikhil, do you think that court is stepping into the legislative domain?
Absolutely not, Karthikeya. It is within the constitutional scheme of the country that the constitutionality of laws is tested by the constitutional courts of the country, the Supreme Court and the High Courts. It is not the public or the protesters that decide it. It is not the parliamentarians or politicians who decide it. It is the court which decides whether a law is constitutional or not. And of course, there's a presumed assumption that a law passed by the parliament or any state legislature is constitutional. There is a reason that the Solicitor General of India, Tushar Mehta, had to give assurance in the court that we are not going to implement this act till the next date of hearing, because he very well knew, had he not said that before the court, had he not given that undertaking, it would have been the court which would have put a stay order on the act, which would have resulted in a red face for the government. So far as the law being passed democratically is concerned, Karthikeya, I will nowhere question that the law was not passed procedurally. It was. Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha rightfully, legally, constitutionally passed it. That does not mean that the law was correct. That does not mean that the citizens of the country do not have a right to protest against it. Citizens of the country have protested against passed laws, passed amendments, repeal of laws, and everything under Congress governments, under BJP governments, as they should, which is the essence of democracy. So far as the Lokpal IAC protests were concerned, they did deliver AAP and Arvind Kejriwal, but they also delivered Narendra Modi. And Lokpal was also delivered in 2013 by the Congress government. But the same Lokpal was never actually implemented by the government.
I beg to differ. What was delivered through the way Congress managed it, Arvind Kejriwal was delivered to Delhi, and Aam Aadmi Party was delivered to Delhi, and his political ambitions were served.
Agreed.
That was the result of the mismanagement.
Agreed. No doubt about it. Arvind Kejriwal's entire rise can be attributed to and should be
and
attributed to
I as a reporter standing in front of the parliament, I heard them say, and I never forget that. And say, what is this? What does this parliament stand for when the people's will is outside? I mean to say, democratic protest actually questioning the democratic structure. Mr. Nigam, my question is there. That is where I want to take the debate is.
Can I make one small point, Karthikeya? Can I make please one small point? The BJP spokesperson just now called the people who are managing these waqfs as cartels. Now, she must understand that there are 30 different waqf boards in the country, each of them under the respective state governments, whether BJP, Congress or whichever party. So unless she wants to call the state governments of this country as cartels, I don't quite realize the point that she's trying to make. And waqf is made for a specific purpose by the person making the waqf. So this entire argument of revenue nahi aa raha, paise badhane chahiye, hospital badhane chahiye, that is not how it works. That is like me saying Home Ministry is not creating any revenue.
Point taken.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News 9, English news as it should be.